Hi there. It's been a month now, I think. That's my fault. I have been very busy and have not been able to put lots of time into YouTube. I've been trying to stay active in the community tab and on GameJolt, but as for getting videos out, I have been doing an awful job of that. So that is my fault for disappearing for a month. But I'm just trying to get back into it now with short, simple stuff until a nice break, or just until summer hits, I guess. But yeah, basically today we are going to recreate title screens. This is another one of those types of things where there are so many possibilities you can do for it. It's not like one exact thing you have to do. It's just like one general thing to learn, and then there's lots of other ways to do it. I'm just going to show you a general way to recreate them, how you can recreate any type of title screen, like not the game title screens, I should say, the title cards, I guess, for the zones. That's what they're called. But yeah, I'm just gonna recreate the Sonic 1 title card for this video example, but I'll kind of explain how you could apply that to other type of title cards. I'll also show how to give it a smooth transition instead of just the sharp transition. I'll show the sharp, the original transition, obviously, but I'll show you how you can get like a nice smooth little transition onto there in case that's what you want. I think that's everything from me, so let's get on to the tutorial. Alright, so as always, just gonna show off an example of what I'm gonna show how to do in here, but obviously, like I said, this would have to apply to whatever type of title card you're trying to make. Just have a sprite sheet that has all of it over here, but this is a this is a Sonic 1 type of title card for Test Zone, so this is how that looks. So as you can see, very simple. That's the original type of transition, but let me show you the smooth transition. I just have a global variable, I change it to 1, and then it's smooth. And yeah, it goes a little bit slower when it's trying to do a smooth transition, but that shouldn't be an issue. So basically, all of these are individual objects. So test, zone, the emblem, the act, they're all individual objects. They have an X speed variable. I think this one has a return variable. This is just for telling all of them to start moving out, like away from the frame. The rest of them just have a X speed, I think. Yeah, because it's all 10, because that's like the normal X speed for that. Well, that's the closest I could get to what the original one looked like in Sonic 1. But yeah, this is all the code for it. I commented up a lot so that way it would look pretty. This is all the smooth movement down here. It's like the same stuff, except this one has like if smooth title card equals 1, and this is all if it equals 0. So let's say this is all the original movement here. So it's just like moving. That's setting X position, but then like moving things across the frames. This one is doing a bit of math with acceleration and deceleration. So yeah, we'll get to all that though. So we'll start with just the original one. So I guess first thing I'd say is I'd recommend getting this sprite sheet, or really just any sprite sheet that has all the title card text. I should have okay, I don't have Google open right now, but I will link this sprite sheet in the description so that way you can use it for yourself. This includes Sonic 1, all the emblem, the numbers, the act, the zone, and then all the whole alphabet you need. Does special stage as well. Has them all for Sonic 2, all the emblems as well. It has it for Sonic CD. It has the whole alphabet. Plus, it's also got all the zone names already made for you. I don't know why these two and Sonic 2 don't have it, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles, they have all of them here. They have Sonic 3D Blast, which is very random, but I guess that's there if you want that. Sonic Classic Heroes, I think that is a yeah, I think that is a mod. That is the sprite sheet I'll be using today. So I guess first thing is you kind of want to go find like your blank test zone act. I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use a blank act here. I have a few blank acts here. Kind of want to get your default act that you're going to copy off to create your zones for everything, so that, or put it in a specific zone, whichever you want to do, something like that. Just pick a frame where, like, make sure it works and it runs, and plan on putting your title card in there. I'm gonna copy and paste it. I don't know if you're gonna copy and paste it, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll just say tutorial title cards. There we go. Just drag that down here. Alright, so we have this now. So we'll just I'm just gonna copy the sprite sheet over. To get it on here, you just have to download the sprite sheet to your files, go up to this button, import, and then search through all your files and find it. Or if you go to my link in the description and find it on the Spriter's resource, you could actually just like right click it, click copy, and then paste it onto here, and it should paste like pixel by pixel. And I guess another thing, transparency color, choose yeah, you want to choose the pink and make sure show is off, so that way it doesn't show transparency color, and that's how you get rid of the transparency color. So I'm just gonna copy that, go into here, put that there, and first thing, let's set up all the sprites. So like I said, I'm just gonna be recreating Sonic 1, so this is all I need right here. You could be doing more stuff, but yeah, anyway, so first thing I will need, here's what I'll do. I will just take this whole section, copy it, make a new active, and then paste it all in here like that. Move this out of the way, and then I think I'm just gonna clone this like 4 times, and then I'll get the sprites I need out of here. So first thing, the blue emblem itself, the big circle or oval object that scrolls by and has all the text on it. You'll just get it like that, crop it out. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I just got back from school, so I'm gonna be bad at explaining things, but get these colors out here. You could go to color picker, choose like the transparent background, so it like chooses the transparency color, and then you can paint with the transparency color. So that's something. And then on the hotspot, you want to center that as always, and yeah, there shouldn't be any animation, so we don't have to worry about animation. Could rename it to blue emblem. I don't know if I spelled that right, but oh well. Another thing, let's get the zone. So they actually have the zone text right here for us already, so we'll just crop that down. Sorry about that, got interrupted. Anyway, crop out the zone text like that, put it in the center there, and now we have our zone text, so we'll probably just say zone text, I guess. And then let's get the act. So let's say, obviously this is act 1 for us, but it could be something different for you. Crop that out. I say select the transparency color here, and then use the paint bucket and get the other colors out. I forgot how close the 1 is actually supposed to be. And that looks right to me. Just crop it down all the way. Hotspot in the center. No, don't cancel, please. There we go. We'll just do rename act. You could put the multiple versions of this with the different numbers in there, I guess, if you wanted to, but I'm not gonna do that. So now the kind of tricky part, since they don't give us all the zone names by default if you're recreating zones. If you're making your own zone and it has a custom name, then you have to do this anyway. But we have to copy like any letters that we need manually and spell out the name of the zone. So here's my best strat for doing that. Copy this, make this one blank, and then we'll just copy the letters off here as we need them. So I'm gonna make it for test zone, so that's a short name to do, so that's actually not that bad. I just need T. We'll just paste it there. We'll position the letters in a second. We'll need E as well. If you have a long zone name, then I get this can be a pain to do. Trust me, I have to do it for rotting, and some zone names are short, some of them are really, most of them are really long actually, so I have to do this all the time. Just do that, and then we can actually just copy this T here and get test. So how the letters are usually spaced out, they're always like 1 pixel apart from each other. This specific font, they're usually like 1 pixel apart. Some letters might have exceptions, but that's kind of up to you. I think the most normal version you can get is all the letters are just 1 pixel away from each other. So we'll crop that down. We'll center that. We really don't need this anymore, so you can delete that. And then let's name this object zone name. So now we have all our objects here and they're ready to go. So let's try to set them up on the screen here. Oh yeah, another thing I almost forgot. They're on layer 3 right now, most likely, if you're going off default here. I say make a brand new layer, have it on the very top there, and this layer, it will be made specifically for the title card. So let's do that. So now they're on layer 9, and another thing we need to do so that way they remain as GUI, uncheck follow the frame, so that way they do not act like interactable objects, they act like objects that are on the screen. So follow the frame, uncheck that. So basically if I drag these in here now and I try to run this, you will see they'll just remain like GUI on the screen, which is what we want. So next step, I guess, just let's kind of set up the objects how you would want them to be, like once they're all moved together. So try to find like the best position you can, like the best centers. You can't really do aligning in frame because it's going to align with the entire massive gray frame, which is not going to help. So just kind of try to set these up to be how you want them to look. I am not going to do this perfectly, so can't remember if that's how that goes. I could technically go back here and see exactly how I did it. Yeah, that's how I did it. I set it up like that. Usually the name of the actual zone it's most of the time longer than the text zone itself. So usually this was made to like have the top text go out longer than the text of zone, but because test is a very short name, that doesn't happen for us. So I say line this text up with this one down here, so that way their edges here kind of are the same. I think that's the same right there. Oh well, so this is not perfect. This is not like exactly how the Sonic 1 emblem would be structured. So I think I'm gonna scoot it over a little bit. It's not like perfectly in the middle, it's kind of off to the side, but is like in the middle as in like for the Y coordinates. Okay, so now we have all this set up here. It's like in the spot we would want it to be. Let's set up variables now. So the blue emblem, all of them need a variable for X speed, just like that, and we want to set it to 10. So all of them need, 10 would be like the original speed. If you want to move it at the exact original speed, 10 would be the best one to do, but obviously you can experiment with that anytime. All of them are going to need a value of X speed, but the blue emblem will need an extra one that we'll just do called return. Basically, when that variable is triggered to be a 1, then all of the objects will start moving back from the way they came to kind of get off the screen, so that way the level can like officially start. Now getting them to scroll in. So time to go to the code here. So what I did in when I was testing this around is I actually put this in I put it in here since they have the like Simple Sonic Works title card in here, and I made a new group as like original title card or something. You can do that if you want. You can have it as its own individual group out there, but I definitely recommend making a group for this. I'll just call it original title card. There we go. Yeah, let's get started, I guess. So first thing, obviously a start a frame. We want to set all of them to be in a position that is outside of the frame. And I remembered exactly what value, I think I remember close enough to what values I used for this. I think I don't actually remember for that one. Here is the blue emblem. we will set its X position to be 460, so that way it is on the right side of the frame and it's outside of the frame. But these ones, the text that's on the left side, we will set that to be negative 33, so that way they're not too far away, but also not too close as well. So I think act got thrown back here a little bit. Yep, there it is. I don't know why it did that, but we want to set that to 460. And then I guess another thing I forgot to mention, in here under inactive if too far, turn that to no, so that way when since they start outside of the frame, we want them to still work and still come in. But you can leave checked destroy if too far from frame, because when we set them to scroll away, they're just going to keep going and going and going and going for eternity. So it'd be nice if they could eventually get destroyed, but it's not that big of a deal if they do. But when they're close, like, it'd be right around here and right around here where they'd be sitting where we set their position. If they're that close, then it's not going to get deleted. So I guess another thing we'll do while we're here, keep in mind the positions. The X positions, I don't think the Y positions aren't important. Keep the X positions of all of these in mind, because we'll definitely need them a bit later. I'll probably have to come back and check all that. But basically, now we are going to do the original movement. So this is just a still, like, kind of not smooth at all. It just kind of goes and stops, like the linear movement like that. So here's what we're gonna do. I'll just make an always, but I will insert if the return value is equal to 0, meaning they do not have to return yet, then we want these to scroll. So we don't want all of them to start scrolling, because if you remember the Sonic 1 title sequence, blue emblem and the name of the zone here, those scroll in at the same time first, and then the zone text comes in, and then the act comes in after that. So basically at the start here we can have the blue emblem scrolling, so we'll do X position. We want to set that to the X position of the blue emblem, and then we want to do -10, so that way that is just constantly moving. And then same thing with the name of the zone, in my case test zone, X position. Want to go find this position, X, -10, just like that. So that way at the start of the frame they will be scrolling, so they should be set away. Yeah, okay. I just realized, don't do -10 for this, because this is on the other side. You want to do +10. There we go. So obviously they go past each other, they keep going, because there's no condition to stop them. So basically, what we're gonna set it up to be is when the blue emblem hits its position that it needs to be in, then zone will get triggered, and I guess we'll just make it where when test reaches its position, we'll just stop it. But whenever the blue emblem reaches its position, zone will get triggered, and that'll start moving. And then when zone reaches its position, then act will get triggered, and that will start moving. And then when act reaches its position, we can start the whole sequence of getting ready to send them all back. So that's why I told you to set them up like this, so that we could just look at their X position, and that would tell you like what X position to check. So now it was 286 in my case. So we'll say if X position, we'll just do 286, but we'll have to do lower or equal. One thing, I guess, drag return down to here. Basically anything we're gonna have before we want them to return will have the return of 0 on it, so that way it only does it when we are not returning. But basically when it reaches that position, just set the X coordinate to that position. So that way the blue emblem should now stop. Yep, there we go. So that's good there. Let's just copy this here. Let's actually go check under test what's its X position. to 66. Okay, so let's change this to be test, and then let's go change this to be 266. And because test is coming from the other direction, we do not want lower or equal, we want greater or equal. And then also just drag return down here, and under, where is it, under test here, zone name, we want to set that position to be 266. So that way that's set. So now they both come in. The blue emblem is going to reach its position before test because the blue one's just closer. We kind of want to do this thing again, except with zone this time. So X, and then find zone, get the X position of zone. And because zone is coming from the left side, we want to add 10 to each one. So now you can see when the blue emblem reaches its position, then zone is going to get triggered and start moving. And then kind of the same repetitive process. We'll just copy this, change this to be zone. When zone reaches its position, which I need to check real quickly, it is 265. Okay, just a 1 point difference. But there we go, 265. Because it's coming from the same side as test, then we can leave it as a greater or equal. And obviously we don't want that there. We can actually drag that over, delete that, and then change this to be 265. So now they should all come together. I forgot act. Okay. So zone stops here. So now zone will stop, and basically when zone reaches its position, we want act to start moving. So literally the same thing all over again. X position here, find act. Where is it? Act was hard. There it is. X position, and because act is coming from the right side of the frame, we want to subtract 10. And yeah, that'll trigger act here, just like that. And same thing again. I'll just drag this down under zone, change that, act. Okay, act there, and then I need to check what act's position is. 289. So 289, and because it's coming from the other side, the right side, this one needs to be lower or equal to, and then set X position to 289. And there we go. That should, yep, there we go. So as you can see, they all drag in together just like that in a sequence that looks a lot like the original. Now obviously they stay there. We want them to return. Drag return right there. Basically now what we want to do is when this is triggered, when act, or just whatever the final element is in your scrolling after everything has scrolled, so that when the final item reaches its position, we want to trigger a timer event, and this will determine how long it sits on the screen there until they start to go back to where they came from. So let's say usually 2 to 3 seconds is enough. I say 2 seconds. I'll change that if I want. And then just make this something like return, I guess return title card. Just copy that so that way next condition here, on event, return title card. Then here what we will do all the way in the emblem, where is it? Right there. This is where we change that return variable to be 1. So now all of this isn't really doing anything anymore. It's none of them are moving, none of them are forcing their X positions on each other. So now basically when we can actually what we could do is just drag this here, return of 1. So basically, I think that's all we need there. When return equals 1, we want everything to start moving back the opposite direction. So you could actually drag this down, and then if it's negative, change it to positive, and if it's positive, change it to negative. I tried to look at what the original one did when I was recreating it, and yeah, all of them, in Sonic 1 at least, all of them leave at the same time. I did that right? Yeah. So yeah, all of them leave at the same time. You can adjust their speeds if you want like one element to move back faster than the other one for whatever reason. But this is just what I'm gonna do. Just switching all of them like that. So that should work. If it doesn't, then I'll debug it. But that should yep. Okay. So all of them come in like that. Then after 2 seconds, it's triggered to send them all back, and then that's it. That's all you really need to do. You know, the objects will kind of keep scrolling forever, but they'll be considered GUI, so there is no way that you'd be able to like catch up to them in a way. Once they're out of the frame, then they're out. They're done. Like that's it. Yeah, that's basically kind of it with the original movement. I think I shouldn't be missing anything, right? Let's move on to getting smooth movement. So all this can stay where it is. We don't need to add any new variables. It's actually why we need X speed. I think you'll notice we didn't actually use X speed at all. So I guess if you are gonna have the original linear movement and not do any smooth movement, then you theoretically actually don't need the X speed variable. You need the X speed variable if you're gonna do the smooth movement, because it's just easier to deal with variables. So basically what I say you do, first of all, make like a global variable. I should probably show how to do global variable. Okay. I would say make like a global variable that's called like smooth title card or something like that. You can just make new down here and name it. So that way you, maybe if you have like settings in your game, then someone can change the settings and you just change this global variable. And depending on what this is, that'll tell the frame whether to do a smooth transition or just a linear transition. So if it's 0, it's going to do the normal one, but if it's 1, it's going to do smooth. So I'll set that to 1, but there, you'd make your variable there. And then in here first, we want to do compare global variable. Let's do smooth title card. So if it's equal to 0. So basically all this right here, if it is equal to 0, then do all this. Probably just include the starter frame as well. So now all this will only work if it's equal to 0, because this is all for the linear transition. I say what we do is copy it here. I'm gonna get like is there like a comment I can, here we go, it's like a little border. I'm gonna do that to split it up. Okay, so all this down here will be smooth transition. So we want to set all of this to be 1. You can actually do this and then just drag it on here and it changes it for every single one. So now all of this is only going to trigger when it is equal to 1. You can basically kind of keep everything here. There's just a few little modifications, mainly just right here with moving them like this. These are really the only modifications you need to make. What we'll do here is let's go to edit. So we're still setting the x coordinate to be the x coordinate minus something, except it's not going to be just straight up minus 10. We are going to subtract that variable x speed. So multiple values x speed. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is still basically just subtracting 10, because we set the x speed variable to 10. What we do within this same event right here, we are going to subtract from an alterable value. It's going to be x speed. So while we're subtracting the position by x speed, we are subtracting the value of x speed, so that way it can smoothly slow down. If we just do 1, that's going to slow down too quickly. I found the best value to be 0.16, so that way it'll smoothly subtract how much we're slowing down by, and eventually x speed is going to reach 0 and then it's going to stop moving, and hopefully by that time you reach somewhere around 286. You'll have to experiment with it a lot since it's dealing with decimals. So sorry about that. Once again, I got interrupted and actually just went to the gym and came back, but yeah, so I'm going to probably try to. I had some issue going on here, but I'm just gonna recap what I did. So I set the X position of the blue emblem to be the X position of it minus the X speed variable. And then I'm constantly subtracting 0.31. If I keep the original clip in there, then I ended up saying 16 was the good speed. 16 is not the good speed. I think that was for something else. 0.31 is going to be the good speed. And you just subtract it. So that'd be like going here, subtract from, and you choose X speed and how much you want to subtract. So there's that. But something else we need to add in here is actually... we can cheat this. We can drag this here, put this up here, then change this to be X speed. So if X speed, we'll say, gets lower or equal to 0, and return is also 0, then and then also that. Then after all this, then you set X speed. Where is it? Here we go. X speed to be 0. So that way, what was happening is this was constantly still subtracting, and it ended up going into the negatives, and you know, negative times negative cancels out to a positive. So that ended up adding speed to it, which caused it to go the other direction. But now I think with that, it should smoothly come in and stop. Okay, it kind of bumped a little bit there. Let's see. Let's see, you have to modify the variable as much as you have to. See, that didn't go far enough. If it doesn't go far enough, then yeah, just keep trying it. Let's see, can that reach? That does reach. Okay, 0.32 then would probably be the good speed. Well, I guess it depends on the position and the speed you have it set to, so experiment with that variable. But yeah, we do that and basically do that same thing. So let's say with the other one here, we'll go to edit and we'll still do X position there, but instead we are gonna plus which was this zone name? Where is it? There we go. Test zone values X speed. So we're gonna be adding X speed to this, but we are still going to be subtracting X speed constantly. So I think this was the one I saw where 0.16 would actually be the best, because the blue emblem was a bit closer, so we needed it to slow down a little bit quicker, but the zone text is further away, so we can have it slow down a little bit slower. So okay, see, that started going the other direction because it went into the negatives and started going the opposite way. So we'll do this, X speed, change this to be test, just like that, right here. X speed 0, and then make sure over here this one gets deleted. Right, and then basically repeat that process. I'll show you here. You'll see that smoothly. It didn't. Did that go all the way? No, that did not. Okay, so probably have to make it smaller. The smaller the number, the longer it's gonna take to slow down. So let's see how this does. Okay, that, you saw the bump there, it didn't really smoothly go in. Let's try 0.15. I could still see it there. Then how come, I guess 0.155, let's see how that does. That's probably the one. Maybe, I don't know, how come, okay, there's all that, but then 0.16, it like stops it from even reaching all the way. That's strange. So see, sometimes in cases like these, you'll have to get down like another decimal unit. Like, that didn't go all the way. See? I don't know. Nothing makes sense. Let's try this. Let's see. Nope. Okay, so 0.155. That is gonna be it, I guess, right there. Yep. Okay. I guess that's gonna be it. So yeah, that's for that case. So now, yeah, literally just same thing over and over for these. All right, so then same thing again, but for act, which is all the way over here for some reason. So this is -10, so still just gonna keep the minus. Where is act? There it is. x minus x speed, and then we are going to subtract x speed. I forgot what I did for this one, but I think it's going to be a higher value because it's closer. So let's see. Okay, okay. First thing, this again, I'll drag this here, and then set x speed to 0. That was right, yeah. And then go over here and get rid of that one. That looks like it bumped it a little too hard. Let's see again now. That's not gonna go back. Yeah, that definitely bumped it a little too hard. So means I gotta, I don't think 0.5 is gonna be as much. Yeah, okay, obviously that was too much. Let's try 35. See what that does. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit slower. 33. Let's see it. That works for me. Okay, so that's what all the values are going to be for me, so I guess that's what it is. Alright, and then here, basically same thing as we were doing here. Change it to be plus x speed, except we're not subtracting from x speed this time. We're going to be adding to x speed. So just go to edit, change 10 to once again be act. Oh no, what did I do? Nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Act x speed right there, and then instead we want to add to x speed, and whatever value you make this will kind of depend on how quickly it'll scroll out. So if you want it to scroll a little fast, then you can make it a higher value. So I might do 0.4. Just gonna see how that looks real quickly. So yeah, it looked slow, but that's because everything else was going fast. So I think that works for me. So now we'll just go over to the other ones here. So same thing, it's gonna be minus, except which one's this? Zone text. So zone x speed. We're basically doing the same thing. So a very repetitive process, except we are still adding to x speed. I want the zone title to go faster than the zone text itself, so I'm going to do 0.3, and then we basically kind of do the same thing right here, except I'm going to constantly add I don't know about 0.4, probably 0.35, and yeah, and then this one right here, last but not least. So get that x speed, and then add to x speed. Let's do 0. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. That should create a smooth smooth transition out. Let's see. Yeah, that did. Okay. Yeah, I guess modify the values however you want. That is pretty much the most I could show for the basics of creating your own title screen sequence. So here, let me come up here like this so you can see that all smoothly coming in, and then it smoothly goes out. I guess because it all happens a little bit slower, you could change this to be either, say, like 1 second. You could change it to be that. Okay, one other thing I did forget. There's a thing in most Sonic games where while the title card sequence is happening, you cannot move, but once the sequence goes away, then you're able to move. So how to do that? At the start of the frame here, we want to go to a group of events, deactivate, and it is input management simple. This is basically what tells the program which keys being pressed will equal which buttons on a Genesis controller. So we want to deactivate that so that way the player cannot move at all. But let's say, I guess when it's returning, so it could either be this or this, whichever you want. When it's returning, just simply, where is it? Reactivate that group. So we'll just drag it down here, reactivate. So, so I can't move. I'm pressing the arrow keys, but then finally they go away, and I'm able to move normally. One more thing I did forget. This would technically, specifically only be for Green Hill, but getting the black title card to fade. They do have one by default here, so I'll just use that one. First, though, I kind of have to override some of its code that already exists. I think these are it. I think this is gonna be it. I think it's in title card simple. This is what they have it as. So here's what I'm gonna do. Start a frame. I am going to, under effect, compatibility, set semi-transparency, gonna set it to 0, so that way it's full like that. Here's what I'll do. Inactivate that group, because we have a nice title card now. So set that to 0, I guess do it right there too. And when it all comes together, I guess, let's say I guess right around here or here, whichever you want, it starts to fade out, and then like they start scrolling away. So let's say right here, effect, compatibility, semi-transparency. This is going to be, let's see, that's the right one. Yep, effect, compatibility, get semi-transparency ratio. We'll do plus 1, and then same thing. Right, should be right here. I think that should work. Let's see it. Yep. It happens a little more fast-paced than the original Green Hill, but okay, now that should basically be everything about creating your own title card sequence for your zone. As you can see, it's really just setting X positions and subtracting them to get them to move, and then when they reach a certain X position, set it to that, and then trigger another one to start scrolling. And that would be just for the smooth, or not the smooth, this is just the original linear sequence. The only difference between these is that you'll be using the X speed variable, and you'll be using acceleration and deceleration, which would be subtracting the X speed, but then or subtracting the position by the X speed, but then slowly subtracting from X speed to get it to slow down, or adding to X speed to speed it up. So that should basically be everything. And then of course you can, because we set it to a global variable, it's set to 1 right now, so it does the smooth transition. If we set this back to 0, then as you can see, that does the linear transition and goes out, and the title card could not fade out quick enough because it happens so quickly. Maybe in here then, oh wait, I just thought about something. Did I set the right one to go 1 second? I set the wrong one to be 1 second. Okay, that should be 2 seconds. This one should be 1 second. There we go. That should work properly now. Yep. Okay, we can move around, you know, and I guess I should show how, you know, I'm moving around the arrow keys. Sonic, I still can't move, but then finally I can move when they disappear. You can kind of have them yeah, you know, everything can just be however you want it to be. However, well, like if you're recreating a certain title card sequence, or if you're making your own custom one, it's all just kind of however you want to do it. But that's kind of the basics of it. Moving around the pieces like that, and then you get the smooth transition as well. So that's basically it. Sorry for being gone for another month. I hope it's not gonna happen again, but who knows what'll happen. So yeah, this was how to recreate your own title card sequence for Sonic Zones. I guess I will see you all in the next tutorial. Goodbye.